What's up, guys? The window has come to an end. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone. And we are going to rate the window. We're going to rate the players we signed individually. We're going to rate the outgoings. We're just going to rate the entire package in a total. Have we done enough? Did Comolli do a good job considering he's not really the sporting director, considering the financial implications? We will talk about players that we still are paying right now. All of that. Have we built a competitive squad? How will you rate that window? Whilst I'm talking to you guys, let me know in the comments. Type it already out so you can have the entire thing ready and we can discuss it in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, and let's dive into it because it was, well, an interesting one and it ended with a splash. Okay, let's start with Zhegrova. I'm not gonna go, in the correct order, but we start with Zhegrova. Came on transfer deadline day, basically, or was announced, or like the here we go was the day before that. A player that I think a lot of the fan base likes, wanted at the club, whatever you want to call it. We're excited or are excited about. Think he can offer something completely different and be dynamic. In a nutshell, the attack we have built on paper looks dynamic. It doesn't look static. It doesn't look like a backline that's physically going to bully teams. It's not. Could that be an issue? Maybe, yes. But then again, Liverpool's front line years ago wasn't a front line that was going to bully teams physically. They just outplay teams because they were technically better. So that's what we're going to rely on. With Zhegrova, he brings, I would say, kind of what Conceição brings, but I hope with more consistency. I think that's the way to put it in a correct way. He is a player who likes to dribble, who has a cracking shot on him. On his day, looks like he's unplayable, but like I said, on another day, looks like he's unplayable for us, and it's a hard watch. It's frustrating to watch, but he's like that. Conceição is like that. Those are the type of players that we have signed, and we kind of need to deal with it. The price tag, it will be confirmed, while I'm recording this video. It's not really been confirmed, but around 20 million euros. 1 year left on his deal, a 3-year deal. I think that's fair. The price tag you can discuss, man. He was a free agent next season and he hasn't played basically since January or December. Is that a fair price? I will leave that up to you. I think, yeah, if you look at that and you take all things into consideration, you slightly overpay. But I mean, if you wait that long on the window, and not because we couldn't do we couldn't do the deal because of Nico Gonzalez, you're gonna pay a little bit more for any player, so that is the situation. So Zigrova, I'm actually excited to see what he can bring. I'm looking forward to the fact Conceição is going to have competition, that he knows that I'm not gonna play week in, week out, and if I do, I still need to perform. Otherwise, somebody else is ready to take my place. He's ready and is waiting. So that I absolutely love and we need it. So based on that, I'm gonna rate it from 1 to 5, by the way. I'm gonna give it a 3.5, because like I said, he's a player who is a bit inconsistent, when it comes to week in, week out. And I have that with Conceição already. So it's not, I want to say it's a massive risk, but it still need to be seen if it's gonna work the way it should be or the way we're hoping it to work. All in all, I think it's a good transfer. I have nothing really against it. I think the price is okay. We didn't really overspend, maybe by a couple of millions, but I don't think we did something insanely, in my opinion. The wages are 2.5 as well, so it's fairly okay. So 3.5 for me for Zhegrova. Then we move on to Loïs Openda, the latest edition, around 40 million euros. Easy obligation to reach, according to Romano. 4.5 million euros in wages, apparently, as well, said the rumors. A lot of people do like Openda, and he gets GNA. Not last season, not as much as the previous season. To be honest, nobody actually did at Leipzig. Changed coach, Sesko played a certain way, and the team, tried to play in for him as well. It changed it. It changed a lot of things, in my opinion. So maybe that's kind of the issue all in all. I think Xavi Simons had a poor season as well for his standard. So I wouldn't focus too much on that, because it's one season. The previous seasons, the GNA were fantastic, and you see the stats the last 5 years, it's up there with him, Jonathan David. Like, it's up there. Like, the numbers are good, but the thing is, the numbers were not for us. Now it's at Juve, and you need to kind of replicate that. I will say from the get go, I'm not the biggest Openda fan, and that goes from watching him in the Belgium league to Leipzig. I'm not saying he's a scrub, but he never stroked me as a player where strike me like as a strike me as a player. That sounded odd. Strike me as a player where maybe it is stroke. Anyways, as a player where I was like, wow, I need that in my team. Even when you look at the Belgian media and the Belgian fans, they're also not that high because it's very inconsistent performance wise. Even though the numbers are there previous years, it's very inconsistent. When he plays for the Belgian national team, it's not good. It is what it is. The position will be interesting. I think a lot of people believe it's going to be Yildiz, Jonathan David, and Openda. I can see that if we don't change formation, it will be something like that. I think Openda will play more on the left, and I think he will be used as a striker. He is not like Kolomani. I think Kolomani is not a number 9 on his own. I think Openda can be as number 9 on his own. Maybe not the best of positions for him as well. And considering the way we play Jonathan David, Tudor made it clear Jonathan David is number 9. He's not going to play behind the strikers. He's just going to play the striker position. So it's going to be interesting. It's versatile across the board. We have versatility across the board right now up top. Did I prefer Kolomani? Yeah, but that was also based on I've seen Kolomani. I've seen him done well for us. So there was some more, how do you want to say, like the feeling safe about he's gonna perform because I've seen it, So, and that's not fair towards Openda, I guess. But again, I've watched him in the Belgian league. I'm not the biggest fan of Openda. If it's around 40 million euros, if all the bonuses hit, fine. If all the bonuses hit, it probably means we have done something well, and we've done something good, in our season. So I can kind of live with that. But over 40 and plus, I think that's overpaying for a player, in my opinion, performance-wise, is inconsistent. However, it's going to be extremely interesting how we're going to use him. Like, extremely. I cannot wait to see what Tudor is going to do. Tudor has no real excuses right now because he has a lot of options. So, like, it can be a good thing having a lot of options or a bad thing. He can overthink it and he can do things and focus too much on things and stick with things because he wants to do that, and it cannot look good enough, So that's on Tudor. But on Openda, interesting to see what he's going to do. We got that deal over the line quickly. I don't think that's difficult. But if you need to, with all due respect, need to leave Leipzig, it's an easy decision, in my opinion, to leave Leipzig for Juve. So that's that. But Komoli did what he had to do, acted quick when he couldn't sign Kolomani, and we got Openda. So I'm gonna give that a 3 out of 5, just purely because I'm slightly biased and I'm not the biggest fan, and I hope he proves me wrong. And he has the capability, he has the abilities, he has the tools to prove me wrong and smash it. But again, if games are close, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do. As for Conceição, as for Zhegrova, I know Yildiz can do that when games are close. I've not seen that from Conceição. I've not really seen them from Zhegrova. And to be honest, I've never seen that for Openda. So it's going to be very interesting. I think in Europe, we will do well up front because we will have some space and these players can all do damage. Yildiz, Zhegrova, Conceição, Openda, when there's space, they can do damage. When games are close, they're going to need to be patient, they're going to need to beat their man, and they're going to need to be clean and consistent. And that's, I think, where the issue starts for these type of players. Anyways, 3, that's just my opinion on it. Let's move on to Jonathan David. Really quickly, I gave that transfer a 4 out of 5 for the very simple reason of, is he the classic number 9 where it's like one of the main guys, like every team has like Haaland and Isaac and Lewandowski? Is he that household name? No. But I don't care about that. He's a free agent. His goal scoring record is fantastic. The start to the season has not been all that good. Yes, he scored in the first game, fine. But the first half in that first game wasn't good. And actually against Genoa, it was bad miss as well. But it's too early to say, oh my God, bench him, whatever. Because the goal scoring record is good. And I don't think, like, it's been good for years. It's not a one-off season. It's been good, consistent for years. So he can score goals. And that's, I think, believe what he will do. That's what he will do. He needs time. Some might say he needs to get fit. That could be the case. I don't know. But I have no problem with that transfer. I'm okay with that. From the first minute I said I'm fine with Jonathan David, having him, his link-up play is good. It's not been good so far. It's not been consistent so far. I get it, but let's wait and see how things will go. And even if it doesn't work out, I think you can sell him on. I think he has that value left on him. So I think that's smart business, especially now that Vlahovic stays. We couldn't invest that money. It sounds smart. If it doesn't work out, Vlahovic is gone. You can, look at your options next summer and see what you're going to do. Obviously, you all hope, and I'm hoping, and I'm actually believing that it will all come good and it will work out for Jonathan David at us, and he will score the goals and it has assists that we should be having throughout the season. So I'm happy with that. 4, I'm perfectly fine with that. Joao Mario. Um, Again, I will say the rating from the first minute. I'm gonna say 2.5, and stick with me. This is not to say, based on what I've seen, that's a 2.5. I'll say 2.5 because it's an unknown. The deal, we moved out Alberto Costa. I'm also like, defensively, Alberto Costa is not bad. Is bad, excuse me, it's bad. Going forward, he was good. I thought he was decent. I thought he was very decent. With João Mario, going forward, it can look decent at times. Defensively, it's not good. And we knew that. Can it improve? Yes. I hope it improves, because right now against Genoa, a lot of the defensive issues were he was not reading the game. Like over the top, he was getting beat way too often. And that you just need to learn by positioning yourself well and setting yourself up, being focused. I think you can improve that. Technically, he's well sounded enough to get out of trouble. So I do like that. But there's a big unknown. The transfer deal, we got money on top of it, maybe 3 million or something. And we moved out Alberto Costa. So that's that type of deal. Is it good? Only time will tell. Obviously. Even with Alberto Costa, there was not enough evidence to suggest we shouldn't be moving him on, But there was also not enough evidence to say, do not move him on. It's up in the air. That's why I say 2.5, because I need to see much more from him. Not like at us, but even I've not seen enough of him when he was not even playing for us. So I cannot say it's a 4, it's a 5, 2.5. It's down the middle. I don't know. Let's wait and see. Will he come good? Will he do some great things? Will he do some bad things? Only time will tell when it comes to João Mario. So 2.5 for me when it comes to João Mario, because there's a lot of unknown when it comes to Joao Mario, excuse me. Now let's move on to the other players that we brought in, and like really quickly, we still paid money for Conceição. We signed him 32 million euros. I think everybody knows what I think about Conceição. I'm not the biggest fan. I think it was a mistake to spend 32 million on top of the 10 million we already spent for the loan. I think that's way too much for a player who's extremely inconsistent. On his day when there's space, it's fantastic, but there's not much space in Serie A. Many games are close and it's extremely frustrating. It's not good. A lot of bad decisions. I hope he comes good, but I fear for that because we invested so much money for something that we already seen last season, the inconsistency. So I'm not sure why we decided to do that. I think that money, if you sign Zhegrova and all these guys, Openda, that money could have been spent in a much better way, especially at that back line. Maybe a right wing back, maybe a midfielder, but especially at the back, right wing, because again, we'll talk about it in a sec. And defensively, I think we could have spent that money in a smarter way for Conceição. So that's my opinion. We pay for Kelly, we pay for Kalulu, Di Gregorio. Those are the guys we paid money for as well. We need to keep that in mind as well. Now, the outgoings is the interesting one. Obviously, Alberto Costa, I talked about that. Savona, everything we sell to the Premier League, I'm not happy because we could have squeezed more money out of it. Same goes for Savona. Am I angry he's gone? No, because I don't see a high ceiling in Savona. Defensively, maybe, but it's not a player that I'm like, wow, I see insane potential. He can show that maybe in Forest, but I've not seen it. However, the frustrating point is that other players should have left before him, So that's that. But he's gone and we need to deal with it. In Bangula, now you got a replacement, fine. I still think we could have got more out of him. But, 13 million, around 30 million from Werder Bremer. I think that's already a lot of money for Werder Bremer. So it is what it is. Tudor doesn't like him. Not personally, but like as a player. And we got the replacements in right now. So that's perfectly fine, I guess. We moved out Diallo for 3.5 million to Besiktas, I think it was Besiktas. Fantastic. That's one bad player. Defensively, offensively, like that was shocking. So fantastic news that he's off the books. Douglas Luiz to Forest. I think we should have got more money, especially when it comes to Forest Premier League teams. I'm scared. It's a loan with an option that becomes an obligation if he plays. Hasn't started already this season, 2 games. That's my biggest fear, that these players are coming back, and then we have a massive issue. The money will be good if he gets activated next season. It will be kind of clean and balance out on the book. So Komoli did what he had to do for a player who's not part of the project anymore, or the coach, and he wanted to leave. But there is a big risk that he actually returns. Nico Gonzalez for almost 34 million euros to Atletico, 31 plus 1 plus 1, 33. He could come back if he doesn't play many games as well. But again, if it hits, it's fantastic, because on the books, that's a good value on the books. We make a positive impact on the books, and I think nobody could have imagined that if I told you that at the start of the summer. So that's that. But again, loan with option. He can come back if things not go his way, our way, and that is a big worry. Arthur out on loan, coming back next season, but who the hell is going to buy Arthur? So that we need to take into consideration as well. Milik is still at the club. That's not good. Maybe he goes to Turkey. The window is still open. Those are players that shouldn't be here. So overall, is it a fantastic window? No, because we have obvious holes, like I said. Right wing back, midfield, we don't have that attacking midfielder. Miretti, is he going to step in and do his thing? Is he going to be used to do his thing? Adzic is still at the club. Is that positive for a player who's not going to play much? Shouldn't he be out there getting minutes to improve? At the back, we still have Kostic, who, like, even when Cambiasso was injured, wasn't even the replacement in the starting lineup. We're playing Kalulu in that position, in positions he shouldn't be playing when in that formation. At the back, if Bremer is out, we all agree that we are in some serious trouble. Like, he is holding it all together. If we're without Bremer for quite a while, we're gonna drop many points. It's just what it is. He is that important to the team, and that is a big, big worry that we are all feeling that way. We struggle playing out from the back. Maybe you could have got a Kanji like Inter, who have him on a loan with a difficult obligation. That would have helped us a lot, even for a one summer season fix, and then you figure it out. But we decided to keep Rugani, extend Gatti. I don't think those are smart decisions. Also, those are free agent. McKennie's still at the club, who is a free agent, and we're not really signing him up to a new deal. I think that's money that has been left on the table for a player who's not going to be used much. We could have used those type of money to maybe bring in an attacking midfielder, which we needed, bring in a right wing back, which we desperately need, and maybe bring in a center back that can be trusted. If Bremer goes down, we have some experience, and just a solid defender. Somebody who can also play out from the back. So we shouldn't drop in Locatelli that much, and takes away a lot from the midfield as well. So overall, it's not been a fantastic window. Up front, we have many options, but at the back, we have a lot of players, but not a lot of options. A lot of question marks, and just the fear of losing Bremer to injury, and then we are back to square one, and we will struggle. It is what it is. With Kelly and all these players, they can have good games and good moments. Everyone can, but overall, it's not good. We need to deal with that. We need to agree with that. So that is the big risk. Are you gonna outscore everyone? That is the big question mark when it comes to this team. Even in midfield, you have Thuram, you have Locatelli, you have Koopmeiners, and after that, it's McKennie. Is it Adzic? It's Miretti? So it's not that you have tons of options as well in midfield. So overall, I would give this window, because of the difficulties and the situation Komoli came into, and the fact that he's not really the sporting director, but we announced it that late that it all was impossible with Tudor. Is he going to stay? New management, all those things. It's not easy to work. I'm gonna say, yeah, we have options up top. Have we improved? I think up top we 100% have improved. We have more options. In the middle, we lost Douglas Luiz, and have we added something? No, yeah, you got Miretti back. So, I mean, on paper, no, because I think Douglas Luiz is a better player than Miretti, especially right now. So, I don't think we improved that at there. And at the back, yeah, you improve because Bremer is back from injury, but on paper, he's always at the team. So have we improved? Not really. You lost Vega. Maybe Cabal comes back in good conditions. Who knows? So a lot of holes. We sold Timothy Weah. I forgot we sold Timothy Weah. Great business, but you didn't really Savona. Timothy Weah gone. You didn't replace these players in those positions. That is a big worry. So I'm gonna go. I don't want to sign too harsh, but like 6.5, because the holes are in key areas, and that's so frustrating. And it's scary that we're relying on Bremer to hold this season together or hold our hopes of a decent season together. That for me is the big fear. So 6.5, maybe that's harsh. I don't know, but if we got one defender or even that wing back in, it would put me at greater ease. I would not have signed Zhegrova or Openda and invested that money, wanted to invest in that money in a solid defender who can play out from the back, or a right wing back that gives us more options, or an attacking midfielder. Like last season when we didn't need to sign Douglas Luiz and we could have done it, could have signed different players, you know. It's the same thing this season a little bit. Key areas are in trouble with injuries. But again, you guys let me know what you think about the signings overall, individually, sales. Are we ready? Are the holes that big to say, not that good of a job? Or are we good enough to deal with the deficiencies in the squad? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.